Hello everybody, this is my first video on compositional aspect. In the trailer, launched in Vimeo some time ago, I tried to hint that compositional aspect is about linguistics and not about photography or anything like that. Somebody may ask me now, but what about cats? Because you said it would be about the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. Don't worry, I'm going to continue this line of thought about cats by initially using 4 sentences with the word cat or cats. As for the amusing Cheshire Cat, yes, the Cheshire Cat will also be discussed in a very intriguing way. But this will happen another time in one of the following lectures soon. This video will be about what compositional aspect is in general and explained in a simple way, as simple as possible on English material. As compositional aspect is a language phenomenon that was discovered by a particular person and is not something that hung in the air, that is, existed in the minds of many researchers simultaneously, as happens sometimes. Here it must be immediately pointed out who this scientist was. It was Henk Verkeel, a Dutch linguist and logician, who described the phenomenon of compositional aspect in his 1971 Utrecht dissertation, but the term itself, compositional aspect, was launched later by other people who recognized Verkeel's achievement. In contrast to this video, which is aimed at a large audience, the following video will be for high-class specialists. But many other people might also profit from it. In the present video, in order for everybody here to be able to understand what compositional aspect is about, the script from start to finish is placed at the end of this video, and subtitles are also available, of course. And now hold your breath, because you're going to see and hear something about English grammar that is really astonishing and even shocking. Observe and compare the following 4 sentences with the 2 short words kid and cat. So, these 4 sentences are the following. The kid fed the cat. This is a perfective sentence. I will explain what this is a bit later. The kid fed cats. This is an imperfective sentence. Kids fed the cat. This, again, is an imperfective sentence. And kids fed cats, again, an imperfective sentence. Fairly simple sentences, right? One could even say these are extremely simple ones. But is this really the case? Not at all. These sentences are very simple only at first sight. Actually, they conceal, let me put it this way, a whole world of intertwined complexities, regularities, and interdependencies. Did you notice one thing in these sentences that really strikes the eye? If you haven't, let me tell you about it. It is that each of the 4 sentences contains a single verb form, fed, while at the same time the first sentence is very clearly different in meaning from the other 3. The first sentence refers to a single completed act, while the other 3 sentences stand for non-completed, non-bounded situations. Although terminology in the field of aspectology, the field studying aspect, is not uniform at all, the general practice is that situations that are completed, bounded, as in the kid fed the cat, are termed perfective. And vice versa, situations like those portrayed in the other 3 sentences which are non-completed, non-bounded, are termed imperfective. Okay, let me start slowly spelling out the truth, the whole story. The truth is that these four very simple sentences underlie, first, the so-called article aspect interplay. In English and in many other languages, of course, as well as the general and hugely important phenomenon that we are going to explore, namely compositional aspect. Pay attention to the first sentence, the kid fed the cat, and remember that it represents the so-called perfective situation. Perfective situations are happenings such as open or close the door, open or close a window, drink a coffee, leave the house, cross the border, explain a sentence, miss the train, remember a proverb, etc., 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 etc. These happenings are first bounded situations because they take a limited stretch of time, no matter whether this stretch is long or short, and they have a particular starting point and a particular end point. Second, something extremely important is that they end with some result, called pragmatic result. This result is such that can be described in most various and general terms for every separate sentence and instance. For example, the phrase "open the window" means the following. The agent grabs the handle of a closed window, and this is the starting point of the situation. Then he or she opens the window and leaves it open. And this is the end point of the situation. But apart from that, at the end point of the situation, there occurs a result. And the result in this case is such that the window was closed at first and is then open. Imperfective situations are different in this respect. We can have an imperfective situation with an expression very similar to "open the window." Consider a sentence describing a child's propensity to persistently open windows. The kid opened windows. What does this sentence mean? Does it mean that there is a starting point of this situation and an end point of the situation with a pragmatic result? No, not at all. The sentence, "the kid opened windows," means that the speaker observed the kid open windows within some indefinite, non-bounded period of time in order to be able to make the conclusion or inference of this feature or propensity of the child. The kid opened windows. Is there a pragmatic result of the realization of the situation? The kid opened windows, similar to the one in sentences like "the kid opened the window"? No. There is no pragmatic result, for the simple reason that there is no end point here. We do not know where the situation "the kid opened windows" ended. Therefore, there is no result, and there can be no result. But let us return to the four sentences above. Okay, the four sentences are: the kid fed the cat. This is a perfective sentence, and this sentence belongs to Verkel's so-called perfective schema. I'm going to talk about that later in another video. The other sentence is "the kid fed cats," which is an imperfective sentence, and this sentence belongs to Verkel's so-called imperfective schema. Why and how, we're going to talk about that later. Kids fed the cat, imperfective, an imperfective sentence, and it again belongs to Verkel's imperfective schema. How and why, etc., we'll see. Kids fed cats, imperfective sentence, Verkel's imperfective schema again. It would be difficult to make a video of how a kid feeds a cat from beginning to end, as in the first sentence. Furthermore, filming such a situation and then showing it would take considerable time. Therefore, let us have a still picture of a kid and the cat that can represent the overall meaning of the sentence, the kid fed the cat. Here is the picture. This still picture in two size versions means, or phrased otherwise, summarizes the following. The kid there gave some food to the cat ate up the food, and in the picture here, the cat is full, lying on the ground and resting after the eating. A more detailed analysis of the sentence, the kid fed the cat, follows below. But in any case, we come to a point here where it is appropriate to ask a very important question. On the one hand, situations portrayed by English phrases such as open or close the door, open or close the window, drink a coffee, leave the house, cross the border, explain a sentence, miss the train, remember a proverb, etc., 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 are, as already pointed out, perfective. On the other hand, situations portrayed by English phrases such as close doors, drink coffees, cross borders, explain sentences, feed cats, miss trains, remember proverbs, etc. are imperfective. The question, a hugely important one, is: can someone open a large English grammar, a comprehensive one, and read an explanation there of these 4 sentences with their meanings and about the role of the definite article in these sentences? I am placing the sentences here once again for easier reference. So here are the sentences again. The kid fed the cat. This is a perfective sentence. And the kid fed cats is an imperfective sentence. Okay, but why? Why? Because an article is missing. Then let's have kids fed the cat. Again, imperfective. So an imperfective sentence. Why? Why? In contrast to the kid fed the cat. Because an article is missing. And then we have kids fed cats. Again, an imperfective sentence. Why? Because 2 articles are missing. So the answer to the question above is a definite, categorical, sharp, pathetic, and deplorable no. No one can read a single word about the article aspect interplay in the sentences above in a comprehensive English grammar, despite the fact that the article aspect interplay has been discussed dozens and hundreds and maybe even thousands of times in publications in theoretical linguistics, despite the fact that actually this crystal clear article aspect interplay was discovered 52 years ago, more than half a century, in 1971 by Henk Verkuil, and it was, of course, published in 1972. A bibliography on compositional aspect is to be shown in a future video. On the other hand, there are a couple of English grammars, specialized ones, for a specific audience or for foreigners with a particular language as their native tongue, that describe in one way or another the article aspect interplay in English. But these are very, very rare instances of a grammar describing, in a detailed manner or not, the phenomenon in question. According to Vesna Bulatovic, in an article in the year 2020, there are only 2 English grammars covering compositional aspect. One by Renat de Klerk, a Belgian linguist, in 2006, and my own English Grammar for Bulgarians, published in the year 2017, the latter providing, in Bulatovich's words, a full description of the role of articles for aspect in English. Be advised that the text of my grammar is freely downloadable and can be found in ResearchGate. This is an internet site. But let us return to the sentences above. I will offer an analysis of the meanings of two of these sentences, and will add another two sentences for the analysis to become more transparent. Meanwhile, it is worth asking, why did I, somebody living somewhere in today's non-Anglo-Saxon world, a non-native speaker of English, manage to explain the English article aspect interplay, while large scores of other grammarians around the world, having appropriate access to the literature in theoretical linguistics, failed to do that? Don't get me wrong, the last thing I would want is to be a hero. I'm not a hero, I'm simply doing my job. But in any case, most people here will most probably agree that something is rotten in the state of Denmark. It is inexplicable and unacceptable to have an extremely important phenomenon in the grammar of English, the most important language for communication in the world today, and to have all large, comprehensive English grammars totally failing to explain this extremely important phenomenon, and even not to have a single word to say about it. Among other things, this video series is to try to remedy this deplorable state of affairs. But now, with the failure of English grammars, let me analyze what exactly some of these sentences above mean, and add into the analysis a couple of similar sentences. Let us see what the sentence "the kid fed the cat" means, broken into its elements. So here we have a kid, in this case a girl. The girl puts some food into a bowl and gives it to the cat. The cat eats up the food in the bowl and then decides to have a rest on the ground. All this happens today. That is, the complete situation is now in the past. As previously explained, the sentence "the kid fed the cat" is a perfective one. It portrays a bounded situation, taking a limited stretch of time, no matter whether long or short, represented by a straight line. It has a particular starting point and a particular end point, and these 2 points are marked at the two ends of the straight line. As already also explained, the bounded situation "the kid fed the cat" ends with a result called pragmatic, and boiling down to the circumstance that in this particular case the cat was hungry at the beginning of the situation and maybe nervous, while at the end of the situation the cat is full and happy. Or, in other words, perfectivity is a situation bounded on the time axis and having a pragmatic result at its end, termed achieved telos. Telos is a Greek word meaning end or aim or things like that. As already mentioned and shown above, the kid is a girl. Her name is Dea, and the picture in which she is petting the cat after the cat has eaten up its food is used here and will be used below to represent the meaning of the perfective sentence "the kid fed the cat." So let me repeat. Here we have a picture of Dea and the cat. And this picture represents not just what you see now, but it represents the situation there fed the cat. That is from the beginning, when there gives food to the cat eats the food, and then the food is eaten, and the cat is happy. This picture here represents all of this. Recall now, however, that we can have imperfective situations too. One such situation is kids fed the cat. Here is this situation represented diagrammatically and looking a bit more complicated. And now let's have this. Recall that we can have imperfective situations. One such situation is kids fed the cat. Here is this situation represented diagrammatically and looking a bit more complicated. What do we have here? Here we have kids regularly feeding the cat, let's say every day. Clearly, each day the cat is fed well, which means that we must represent the feeding as a bounded, perfective situation at every separate instance, through a straight line, here red, bounded at both ends. But the overall situation is not bounded. It is non-bounded because it consists of an indefinite, unspecified number of cat feedings. Hence, the two red arrows pointing into the two opposite directions, or to put it simply, we do not know where the cat feedings start and where they end. The overall situation is a non-bounded one, imperfective, and hence there can be no pragmatic result associated with the end point, because simply there is no end point. Note that a sentence such as kids fed the cat, despite the plural form kids, does not presuppose the presence of at least two kids every time. There may be only one kid feeding the cat on a separate occasion, as here on Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. And there may be two or three or more kids feeding the cat together, as on the other days. As can already be seen in the four initial sentences above, it is obviously the article that plays an extremely important role in effectuating the distinction between a bounded, perfective, and a non-bounded, imperfective situation. Thus, a question arises whether we could perhaps have a perfective sentence such as the kid fed the cat or there fed the cat, but modified so that it becomes imperfective, non-bounded. Yes, indeed, we can modify a perfective sentence such as the kid fed the cat or there fed the cat and turn it into an imperfective, non-bounded one. This can be done in many ways. For example, by adding certain kinds of adverbials to the relevant sentence, as in the kid regularly fed the cat or there regularly fed the cat. Again, as in kids fed the cat, this is a non-bounded situation, not closed but open at the two ends. See the two red arrows pointing at the two directions on the time axis. And this means that we do not know where the overall situation begins and where it ends. Note, the overall situation does not start on Monday and does not end on Sunday. There exist no events that are eternal, so obviously it starts on an unknown date prior to this Monday here and ends on an unknown date after this Sunday here. But we do not know when. The most essential feature of imperfectivity is that we do not know its end points, the starting point and the end point. And another important feature of imperfectivity is that there is no pragmatic result. no achieved telos at the end point, because such sentences do not comprise any end point. Dear audience, did you get an idea of what compositional aspect is? I hope to have been able to help you with this. See you next time, when we shall be digging deeper and deeper into perfectivity and imperfectivity to see why and precisely how the two phenomena arise. Thank you very much. Take care and be happy.